Hi, welcome to Astrobabble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology,
And I'm Lynda from Scullywag Astrology.
and we're going to be babbling about astrology. And today's focus is going to be the full moon in Aries. So that's why I'm wearing red, and so is Lynda. Very Aryan today, with
Yes.
that Aryan vibe.
And this full moon is going to be at 16 degrees and 32 minutes of Aries. So I'll bring up the chart.
It's great. While you do that, do you want me to talk about the moon mansion?
That would be great.
Okay, the Moon Mansion. It's a really kind of a short one. It's good for sowing seeds and journeys. It is not good for associations or marriage.
Ooh.
So I guess it's take a walk into the woods or plant and stay in the fields. That's
Just do all the hard work.
yeah, yeah. I think that would be good for your neck of the woods. It would not be wise to be planting seeds this time up here for unless you've got an inside venue.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're going into spring here, or we're already in spring. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. And you just told us about the moon mansion. That was a very short moon mansion.
It was. There was just a couple of things. But
Mm.
there's a lot going on as far as the the planets. But let's do the horoscopes.
Hmm. Well, first off, I thought we'd have a quick look at the chart. We've got
Okay.
Venus very close to the sun at the time of this full moon, because the full moon is when the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So, yeah, the moon's not only opposite the sun, but Venus at the same time, and in the sign of Venus, Libra. So, yeah, we have Jupiter retrograde with the moon, but soon to move into Pisces. We have Mars, which rules this full moon. It's making a wide sextile to it. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Saturn is making a sextile to that as well and slowing down because it's going to be stationing soon.
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how this goes. I mean, Aries is a sign known for driving forward and moving fast. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that Saturn sextile kind of slows it down a little bit, kind of makes it a little bit more controlled. But then we've got
Sure.
the sextile with Mars and Gemini, so
I
could
don't think
be
it's going to be too controlled. It's trining that Mars.
yeah. Well, let me just change this wheel style and we'll do the horoscopes. Did you want to start us off?
Sounds wonderful. So, if Aries is your ascendant and your rising sign, this full moon is going to happen in your first house. So, this will be culminating things that you've already started, maybe even 6 months ago during the Aries new moon. But this will be things that are coming to fruition for you, that you have started a project, maybe that you're completing it.
Yeah, exactly. If you are a Pisces ascendant, this full moon is happening in your second house. And the second house is our income, our personal finances, and resources. So you might be coming into a bonus at this time, or you might have been saving up for to buy something, a resource or possession that's helpful to you. This might be the time when you afford it, or maybe there's just some bump in income. Maybe you're getting an increase in salary, something similar to that.
Yeah. And then, if you are an Aquarius, it's going to be happening in your third house. And this is your house of community. It's your house of siblings. It's your house of your extended family and as well as early education. So these are things will be coming, um, you know, around to you that you might be finishing up with any community projects and early education kind of activities.
Very nice. And if you are a Capricorn ascendant, this full moon will be happening in your fourth house. And the fourth house is our house, our home, our parents, our family, and it's also real estate matters. So this could have something to do with your parents. Maybe they're coming to some high point or culmination or ending regarding some matter. Maybe it's, you've had the house on the market for a while and it finally sells, or maybe you finally purchased that new home, though I should imagine that might be more of a new moon. It's hard to say with that, but yeah, something to do with those topics.
Wonderful. Then moving on, Sagittarius, if you are a Sagittarius rising or ascendant, this is going to be happening in your house of creativity. It can also be the house that you have children. It's the house of children. Something might be coming, you know, finishing up a project around either children or whatever you are being creative with, how your creative expression, your hobbies, that might be, you might be finishing up something with that.
Yeah. And if you are a Scorpio ascendant, this full moon is happening in your sixth house. And the sixth house is the house of illness. It's also our pets and working relationships. This could be people that you work with or people that work for you. And it's also the house of service. So this might relate to people in, I wouldn't say public service jobs, but jobs that serve the public, such as firemen, policemen, doctors, nurses, all those kind of essential workers. So there might be some high point or culmination or some sort of ending happening regarding one of these topics. It might be somebody's moving on from a job. It might be a high point. It might be a graduation ceremony. It might be something to do with a pet. Maybe if you've got a pet that's been entered in a pet show, it comes out with first prize or something similar.
Very nice. A lot of the hard work pays off. So if you are a Libra rising or ascendant, this is going to be happening in your house in the seventh house or the house of the other. So things will be culminating with maybe a discussion you've been having with your significant other. This might come around as that topic that you've been trying to have a conversation with is coming to fruition. I like this house. I like that, especially with Jupiter right there in the same house. So
Not for much longer. I'm not sure when it moves, but it must be moving soon, very slowly into Pisces for a little bit longer.
yeah,
And
I will like that better.
yeah, yeah. And if you are a Virgo ascendant, this full moon is happening in your eighth house. And the eighth house is traditionally other people's money. So this might be a time where you're coming to completion of a financial agreement. This could be you're merging your money together for whatever reason, could be a business partnership, could be related to a significant other, or it could even be, it's a divorce settlement. And this is the time when this agreement is met. It could be when a big loan is approved. It could be when an inheritance comes through. For whatever reason, it's a culmination or an ending or a high point regarding one of those topics.
And if you're a Leo, this is going to be happening in your ninth house, and this is the house of higher education, the esoteric subjects, maybe publishing. So you might either be getting that book finally published or, maybe even understanding a concept in the esoteric, subjects. But this is when it's coming to you. So you're able to reap harvest that, what you've been working towards.
Yeah, full moon, very much related to harvest. And if you are a Cancer ascendant, this full moon is happening in your 10th house. So this is a very visible house. It's often associated with our work or our public reputation. So this could be Perhaps you've been working on a big project at work, and this is a time when, it's completed or you present it. Or it could be some sort of a high point, such as getting a big promotion. It could be also related to your personal life. Quite often you might see this if somebody's getting married or they're receiving some sort of honor or reward.
And then if Gemini is your rising sign or your ascendant, this is going to be happening in your 11th house. And that's the house of hopes and dreams and the house of your friends and groups and where things will be coming together with that. So, if you are planning a group to, get together to do something, this might be when that project is going to happen.
Yeah, very nice. And if you are a Taurus ascendant, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. So the 12th house is the house of our undoing. So it can be related to things such as addictions or self-defeating habits. It's also places of rest and retreat. So it could be a time where you're going away and working behind the scenes, and it's also places of confinement. So this could be hospitals or prisons or monasteries. So for whatever reason, there might be a high point, an ending, or some sort of culmination regarding one of those topics. And it could even be just that you've needed to take time away to rest and recuperate. Maybe you've been working really hard and you've got a holiday coming up and now you can actually relax and decompress a little bit. How's that for a spin on
Very
the
nice,
12?
yeah. You know what? I like, being able to use these energies to our best advantage. So when it's time to, take a step back,
Yeah,
take a book with you,
yeah,
use that time, to your advantage. It's wonderful to see these things coming up so what you need to have.
yeah.
I love it.
Mm.
So love that positive spin because everybody needs some downtime, regenerating.
Yeah, oh, totally. I mean, you can't just go like a machine 100 miles an hour constantly. It's just doesn't work that
Nobody
way.
can. Yeah,
And do you have a stone for us, Donna? I'm sure you do.
I do. And I bet you can guess the color.
Uh-huh. Is it
Um,
garnet?
this no,
Oh, okay.
it is, oops. It is the Red Jasper.
Nice.
This is a great stone for it helps the blood. It's a good for the root chakra. It has a Mohs hardness of a 6.5. It's a microcrystalline, so the it's still a crystal and it's still repeating. Um, but it does have the other inclusions in it. It's not quartz, but it's of the same kind of family, in
Nice.
there with as far as the microcrystalline. Let me give you some more information because it is a wonderful stone. Um, yeah, it gets its color from iron, and it is associated with first is of the earth chakra is the not the earth chakra, the earth element is the element that it resonates with.
Hmm.
It helps you with connection with that the mama earth kind of connection. I use it in layouts for energizing, for fun, for blood issues. It gives you that fire, even though it's I can think of a ton of other stones that have a lot of fire in it. This does offer a lot of that almost constant fire, that not that quick burn and whatever. It's that constant, keep it going kind of a
Ah,
stone. So that's what I use it for, and it really does work well for that grounding and that um wanting to get a little bit of extra energy
hmm.
going with
Yeah.
you. It works very well with that.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah. It
Very nice.
releases shame, guilt, because there's not a lot of people that have been unscarred from their childhood. And
Yeah.
so it's a great stone. It gives you a little bit of energy, a little bit of playfulness, releases a lot of that, some of those harder emotions to deal with. So yeah,
Nice.
it is one of my go-tos. I'm sure you're probably going to see at least 24 go-tos that I'll be talking about these first 24 episodes, because I can talk about what I use the most. It's what I think is beneficial. Although there's a lot of stones that are beneficial, don't get me wrong. And there's
Mhm.
not just 24 that are the top beneficial ones. It
Yeah.
depends on what you're using it for, of what you're trying to adjust those chakras. What I'm trying to do is balance those chakras to kind of even up and straighten up. And that's what these stones do, depending on what their energies are, on how to nudge those chakras more in a line. So that's what I try to do, based on your experiences, your past experiences. That's how I use my choices for stones,
So
is based on
sometimes
the clients.
if somebody needs a lot of something, you kind of bring in the heavy hitters. And if you just need a delicate touch, you might bring in a different one.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
interesting. Nice.
Yeah. Depending on what their energies are, because a red jasper is going to have way different energy. I usually have a basket of stones right there.
Mhm.
Is going to give way different energies from other red stones. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Nice.
this is a
Nice.
great one. Very
Very nice.
Aryan one. It gives you that stand, or that firmness to stand your ground, to make sure nobody's walking over you, and love it. It's a great stone.
Yeah, I was thinking of a few
And
other
that
words.
is the red
Yeah,
jasper. Yeah.
very
It's yeah,
nice.
it looks like a very uh inert stone, something that wouldn't do a whole lot. It's very nice to feel. It's very smooth,
Mhm.
but it's a very powerful stone.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow. We just seem to be zipping through this tonight.
We do. You know what? It's the Aries. I'm
I
telling you, it is that stone.
know.
It is
Yeah.
that stone. It's exactly what it does. It
Oh,
kind of gets
goodness.
things moving around, and
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're even feeling it. How far are you away from here?
Exactly. Exactly. Let
I know
me.
you felt the stones before.
I have
Uh,
actually. I've had Donna do remote healing on me, and it was really, really good.
this full moon is going to be happening at 4:54 here on the eastern coast,
Hmm.
and it's going to be at 16 degrees
16
of
degrees and
Aries.
32 minutes. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Lynda touched on what all this is going to happen. But our next aspect then will be October 10th, right? Is that
Hmm.
where we are? Where
And
Mercury is going to move into Libra.
yeah.
Mercury is going from his own sign. He had all the bells and whistles and all the tools he wanted to use. This isn't too bad of a sign. It was not his own domicile, like Virgo was, but it's Mercury likes to chat and talk, so
Yeah.
I think it'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah, it's a nice sociable position for Mercury to be in. When it was in Virgo, it was not only domicile but exalted. So really good at the analytical, getting down to the nitty gritty. I kind of think of Mercury in Virgo as working though, whereas Mercury in Libra, it's socializing, it's having fun. So yeah, and it's going to be with the Sun and Venus. So very nice.
Right, and we can take this opportunity to say happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian neighbors. It's their
Oh,
Thanksgiving
they
on
do
that
it the
day,
10th.
so yeah.
10th
Do
of
they what?
October. They do it the 10th of
At
October.
the October 10th is their Thanksgiving. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Happy Thanksgiving, Canadians.
to the Canadians.
Well, that would
Like
be
Australia's
nice for a family get together.
exactly.
I'm just
And
looking at
with
that Mars,
Mercury,
making sure it's not causing too much drama. But I mean, that Mars is going to be, it's going to be drained a bit by that Neptune. That's eating too much turkey if they eat turkey for Thanksgiving. I don't know what the Canadians do.
yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
We should ask, because we do have some Canadian friends that we can ask very
We
easily
do. We
what
should.
their,
We should find out what's happening with their Thanksgiving. We don't do Thanksgiving down here.
oh,
No, it's very much an
okay.
American thing and Canadian apparently. So
Parent Northern continent. Okay, so moving on. So on the 11th is the sun is going to trine Saturn, and that's going to signify we're having interactions with older people, maybe some restrictions.
yeah, I mean it is a trine, so this is, I think you've got responsibilities and you got things to do, but you're not feeling too bad about it. In fact, you might actually kind of like being a little bit of an authority or being in charge, or like you said, it can often, Saturn's often signifies older people. So yeah, this could be a nice sign of you're in charge, doing what you need to do. The sun is actually in the superior position here, and the sun, unfortunately, is in fallen Libra, but Saturn's in its own sign. So, but I don't think it should be a troublesome aspect, mind you.
No,
That some might want to play. It's very close to that Venus, and it's in Libra. So yeah,
yeah,
be interesting.
it should be it's a nice day, an easy day.
I think so. Not too bad. And then the next day,
Next one we have Mars is going to square Neptune, and that's going to happen on the 12th.
mhm,
That's could be substance abuse, could be toxic warfare.
it could be naval battles. But yeah, I think for most of us, it's just going to be maybe just a bit of a drain on the energy levels. That Neptune can kind of drain things. So, or it could be confusion about anger. You might be just irritable and not really know why.
Well, you will know. You'll know now if you are not feeling right.
Hmm,
Yeah.
hmm.
Knowing where the planets are could help you determine, why is it that I'm, feeling, itchy or crawly, or, something is just rubbing me the wrong way all the time. Why is that happening today? Well, this would be the reason.
Yeah, yeah. Neptune can kind of blur things, it can be foggy. It's like, what am I not seeing? Yeah.
Yeah. If you know these aspects are coming, then you know why that's happening or why
Mhm.
you're feeling uneasy because you're not getting the answers that you want and things aren't as clear as you'd like them to be.
Yeah,
So that would be a reason why. So just, take a breath
yeah.
and move on. The other aspect that we have on the same day is going to be Mercury is opposing Jupiter.
Mercury opposed retrograde Jupiter. Yeah. Didn't we do this not long ago? I think we did because they were both retrograde at the time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think it was just before Mercury stationed direct,
yeah,
I think.
yeah, because Mercury stations direct on the 2nd of October.
2nd of
So
October. Yeah.
yeah,
So
it,
this
it hasn't
time,
been that long ago.
so this time Mercury will be direct. Yeah, so for a start, I mean, when both planets are retrograde, they're both moving slower. This time, Mercury's, you know, it's more than 15 degrees away from the sun, so it's not under the beams, and it'll be moving a lot quicker. So, yeah, this can be kind of grand ideas, big ideas. With that Jupiter retrograde, though, I think some of those ideas might be a little bit unrealistic, though. I mean, that opposition can cause that even if they were both direct. But the fact that Jupiter is retrograde, it's in Aries, it's just about to change sign too. It's kind of a little bit all over the place.
It is a
Yeah.
little hard to understand,
It could come down
nail down.
to because Jupiter
Where's
can
the
be a little
details?
bit high-handed, a little bit condescending at times. So if you kind of, and I mean, Jupiter's in Aries, It could be a case of, you got somebody that's trying to boss you around and tell you what to do. And I mean, that Mercury in Libra, it really doesn't want to ruffle too many feathers, but, at the same time, it's probably not wanting to be walked over either. So,
Arrogance is with that Jupiter in Aries.
yeah,
You could
yeah,
run into arrogant or dishonesty, fraud,
yeah, yeah.
you know. So
Mm.
just keep an eye out for those kinds of things
Yeah, well,
on the 12th.
and then Mercury can be a trickster, and it's in a very, very charming sign of Libra. I mean, really, would make a great con man aspect. Not saying that
Yes, it would.
not saying that all Mercury and Libras are. I'm just saying, it probably
With
wouldn't
this
be a bad.
particular aspect,
Hmm.
because it's opposite that retrograde Jupiter in Aries. So
Hmm.
that Jupiter's already acting, sideways and wonky, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's how that happens. And then moving on the 14th, we'll have Venus trine Saturn.
Uh-huh.
And that, anytime Saturn and Venus get together, I think of duty. Um, yeah, it's duty. It can be hard-hearted as well.
Yeah, I like to think that the trine and the sextile between these two are a little bit nicer. I mean, Venus is in her own sign, but she is under the beams, so that
Under the
doesn't
beam.
help.
So see,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah, so that
yeah,
loving energy of Venus isn't really going to come through as brightly as it could.
no, a little bit more hidden. I think this is, solid, dependable, reliable relationships. This is the comfort that comes from a committed relationship rather than the whirlwind fling. This isn't it's not, electrifying and fun. Well, it could be fun, but it's not that, new excitement and all that of, new romance.
Not the Venus Uranus kind of.
No.
Woo.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, no, no. But it's interesting that Uranus is squaring that Saturn at the time. So yeah, no, this is steady, reliable. It could also be it could be a relationship with somebody significant age difference. But I mean,
Yes.
it's not going to last very long, as in, this is just a passing aspect. Uh, probably probably only going to last a day or two. So, but maybe you meet somebody who's, you know, quite a bit older or younger than yourself, and there's an attraction there. But again, I wouldn't expect the wild romance. It's, a connection, a deeper connection.
And then moving on to October 17th, we'll have the sun trining Mars. So,
Yeah.
that's going to be a lot of quick decisions. Those, that fast decisions. And, sometimes you need to be in a position where, or sometimes you find yourself in a position where you need to make those fast decisions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this would be a great aspect if you need to plan. I don't know if this would be good for surgeries because you would certainly want a surgeon to be, having the ability to make quick decisions. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I was just thinking this might actually be helpful for that Libra sun, because Libra is not known for, they have the reputation of being very indecisive. So this Mars can actually kind of give it a little bit of oomph, a little bit more power of its convictions. It's like, I think we're going to do this and we're going to do this, and we do it. There's thought and action working together. So,
Yeah. Yeah, with Mars in that Gemini sign, overstraining muscles, don't lift heavy things, be watchful of
yeah.
that heavy lifting that you might do on that day with the Mars in Gemini, particularly if you are a Gemini rising.
I was just looking because it's like 1 degree away from when it's going to station retrograde. Just looking at the speed, it's down to 33% of its usual speed. So this is a really slow Mars. So it might not be as big a oomph as it normally would, even though it's not retrograde yet. It's very, very slow.
Wow, 33% of its normal speed. That is slow.
Yeah.
It is slowing down for something. Yeah, so then the following day we'll have Venus trining Mars.
That's nice. That Venus is moving pretty fast. She's moving at 127%. So this is going to be a quick aspect. It will be interesting because by the time she catches up to exactly trine that Mars, she's going to be cazimi. So it'll be a new Venus. 2436, she'll be what? 24, 28.
She'll be within 1 degree.
Yeah, not within the 16 for the medievals, but she'll be getting close. So yeah, so a cazimi Venus trine Mars, but a very slow Mars. She's in her own
Won't happen
sign.
yet. Won't happen until Saturday. I mean, this is only Tuesday, so we're just starting it. So
I
it
know,
could go.
but she's
I know
within that 1 degree.
you're being Aries and you are pushing it.
But
This
no,
could be,
that could be fun. That could be a lot of fun. So what's that? The
yeah,
18th
a
of
lively
October.
expression. Lively expression. This could also be a lack of tenderness with Venus and Mars. So in other words, it could be, not doing all of the it might be more of the vibe of, grab you and kiss you in the park, not present you with flowers and stuff
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
It might be that abrupt kind of a get
Mhm.
together.
Yeah. So I really do think Venus has the upper hand here. I mean, Mars is in the superior position, but he's really slow. She wants to get away, she can. So plus,
Yep.
she's going to be cazimi. Um, this is usually a fun aspect, bit of sexual tension, bit of fun, bit of flirty, bit of, kiss chasey. Yeah.
So the next is it the next day on the 18th? No, it's the 19th where the
Yeah.
sun's going to square Pluto.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Sunspot of
that's
Pluto.
power struggles, it's arrogance. Arrogance seems to be coming up a lot, with that Aries stuff.
Yeah, Sun square Pluto can be a little bit, you might not feel fully in control. You might feel a bit pushed and pulled, like you're not fully in control of what's happening. Really interesting that Venus is going to be really close to it at the time. So I like that. But we're going to have Venus square Pluto the next day. Yeah, a lot of depth, honesty, maybe you kind of come to some realization about yourself, a self-truth that perhaps you weren't ready to face or you weren't kind of aware of. Pluto's direct. That sun is in fall though, so the sun is usually about, being the one, the king, the hero or whatever, whereas in Venus it's more about, the other or us. So yeah, maybe
Um,
kind of
yeah, I
a
was thinking the Persephone Hades theme
interesting.
ought to be coming up. That
Mm,
that that lack of that lack of power. Somebody's taking away your power. So
hmm.
that could be coming up as well around this time.
Yeah, well, the next day we'll have the Venus square Pluto. Um,
Yeah. And that
yeah, I was just thinking with that debilitated Sun, and it's conjoined to Venus, square Pluto. Yeah.
Trining Mars. I mean, it's still in a aspectable
Yeah. Well, I think
trine.
that Mars will actually help. I mean, that Mars, it's not the strongest, but at least it's a trine. But yeah, maybe just realizing that, well, how does that expression go? We're born alone and we die alone.
Yep.
For a sign that's so wrapped up in um coupledom and relationship, that could be something really quite difficult to come to terms with. And of course I'm talking like it's a person, but that's just, yeah, maybe this is something that some people will go through at this time, particularly if this is hitting particular planets, natal planets, or chart points in your natal chart. This might be more significant, but generally feeling, you just don't feel in control.
Yeah.
Kind of went into a bit of a downer,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Uncomfortableness, but you have to experience that uncomfortableness, of your life so that you can move. I mean,
Mm,
uncomfortableness does tend to spur you on to,
hmm.
get you moving along.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of squares do. It's very easy with the trines and the sextiles to become very complacent and kind of almost lazy. Sometimes you need a little prod to get you moving.
So on the 20th, we do have that the Venus square Pluto aspect. And
Yeah.
that is definitely the Persephone Hades, the power struggle, the taking control, the stomping on of, another person's agency.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So all that kind of theme. So, just be careful and watch out with what you're doing and who you're engaging with. Make sure they're safe people. Don't take the risk.
Mm-hmm. This can also be jealousy and obsession you know, and I mean, when you think about it too, when you become obsessed or, yeah, obsessed with somebody, you're more or less kind of giving up a piece of yourself for them in a way. Do you know what I mean? You kind of lose yourself a little bit by doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the way to positive the spin is well, Venus, she is moving direct and she is ahead of the sun.
Yeah, she's in a superior position. She's in her own sign.
She is.
And she's
She is.
cazimi, or is she?
Yes,
Yeah,
and she is cazimi.
yeah. We're getting there.
We're
I've been
getting
waiting
there.
for this cazimi for the last 2 episodes.
Uh, we're almost there. Not quite. First we have to go through, oh, we're on the 20th. So the next aspect that we have, Lynda, drum roll, da 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 da, is going to be Venus conjunct the sun on the 22nd.
Woohoo. Excellent.
And this is exactly what a cazimi looks like.
Oh,
Um,
actually, I'll get it even closer.
because when a planet goes up to the sun, it gets really, really burnt. But when it seems to get right on top of the sun, it's almost like the sun is speaking to it. It's otherwise known in the Hellenistic period as, or what you had said the episode before, Lynda, is that you have the king's audience. You're able to be in the throne room or
Yeah,
the king's room. So you have the king's audience. You can see, and that communication and what needs to be said is happening. That conversation between the sun and Venus is happening, and you're getting the good ideas. You might not be able to implement them right away, but you are getting the energy that the sun is asking you to take. And
yeah.
that's what makes it a cazimi. That's what makes it so powerful. It's the sun's, because the sun is the pranic energy that we're all used to, living with. And if we did not have the sun, we would certainly perish. So that sun is speaking right to Venus right now. So it's a great aspect. And
Yeah, yeah. And usually, coming up to the cazimi, when a planet is 15 degrees either side of the sun, we say that it's under the beams. It can't be seen, which is said to damage the planet somewhat. And then when it gets within 8 degrees, it's said to be combust. But when it's in its own sign, a planet in its own sign, and I think in exaltation, it's said to be in its chariot. It's like it's protected from that because, it's already at home. So yeah, Venus is in her own home or one of her homes in Libra. She's cazimi. This is the start of a whole new cycle because Mercury and Venus both have two different conjunctions with the sun. They have one when they're retrograde, which is the inferior conjunction, and they have one when they're direct, which is the superior conjunction, which this is, also known as the cazimi when it's exact. Yeah, this is the start of a whole new cycle, and it's a whole new cycle in Libra. So yeah, nice.
it is a very nice aspect, that's for sure. Something for sure good will come out of this.
I hope so, but look how late in Libra it is. It's at 29 degrees and 23 minutes. So it has what? 37 minutes before it goes into Scorpio, where she'll be in detriment. So
Yeah,
make the
it
most
happens
of
at
it.
the end of Libra. It'll be good while it lasts.
Yeah. Oh, she'll be fine.
She'll be fine. So what is our next aspect is Mercury is going to trine Saturn.
Yeah,
So,
same
that's
day.
logical thinking, ability to organize.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, this is strategic thinking too. When I was writing these down on my board, I was thinking it's a shame that this Mercury wasn't in Scorpio at that time, because that would have been really good for strategic thinking. But that would have, required Saturn to be in Pisces. So, no, this is good for, sitting down, writing out a plan.
Yeah, this is yeah, I really like this aspect for that thinking kind of tasks that you might need to do that require, you know, function and formation, and what Saturn brings is that good foundation.
And yeah, it's slowing down. When does Saturn station? The next day. Yeah. So this is a
Next day, yeah.
really slow Saturn. So Saturn's taking its time. I mean, he doesn't move fast anyway, but yeah, he's going to be, how slow is he? Oh my God. It says minus 1.7%. Yeah, that's what it says.
So very, very slow.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just
That
about
would
to
be,
come to a stop. So yeah.
and Mars is out of bounds.
Yeah, interesting. Because yeah, that's the degree he's gonna stop at 25 degrees. I don't know how many minutes, but 25 degrees is where he's gonna stop. So he's very, very slow. He's down to
Oh,
20% at this stage.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Be interesting to know if he's going to be out of bounds for a lot of that upcoming retrograde. Because if that's the case, oh my.
Tell us how you really feel, Lynda.
Well, yeah, but I mean, those out of bound planets, they just don't act. They're above, the usual orbit that the planets are in. They're kind of a maverick or kind of
Out of
a,
their lane.
yeah, they're out of their lane. Yeah, they're kind of just off having an adventure of their own accord. And if it's going to be like that when it's retrograde as well, that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's retrograde till January, I think.
yeah.
Oh, so, and I don't think it gets out of Gemini till about March next year.
Nope, you're right. I think
Mm,
so.
It's a long time.
Are we all getting used to Mars and Gemini yet?
I don't like it. I don't like it in my sixth house, Donna. I wanted to move on. Just get on with things.
Well, Mars in any house isn't going to feel comfortable,
Hmm.
It really isn't. Yeah, I've got it in my second house, so,
Oh, yeah.
there,
Yeah.
yeah, there can be,
That's not going to be
I'm
fun
sure
either.
some people are having it in their eighth, so,
Yeah, it's got to be
or
somewhere.
their fourth,
Hmm.
just Mars in any place is uncomfortable because it's like just not giving you a time for breath. I mean, usually Mars like zip zip zips like 6 weeks in a sign and it goes all the way around the thing and we're done with it and you can always breathe through for 6 weeks, but this is like 6 or 7 months. It's a
Yeah.
long time
Yeah,
in
I
this
think
sign.
it's
So
7 months. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a little challenging and it's harder but if you know it's there, you know why you have all that activity in that particular house because Mars is that planet that brings you activity,
Hmm. Hmm. Yes.
fun times.
Yes. So
Um,
the next
so
day is the actual station of Saturn is stationed direct again.
Saturn, this will be nice. The last thing you want is a malefic to act out of character. And so when it stations, yes, it's going to be more impactful on the day it stations because, it's like that iron that you run over, a white cloth and
Hmm.
you move it back and it stays there for a little while. That's the station, before it, moves forward. So it kind of burns or gives a lot of energy in that one spot and that's what Saturn's going to do on Sunday, starting Sunday for a few days until it gets on and moving. It's in its own domicile, so that's nice. At least it's acting
Yeah.
not as off as it could be.
Yeah.
Realization of plans can now happen.
Yeah, maybe some limitations might lift at this time. I mean, Saturn is associated with limitations and restrictions. Sometimes when it's retrograde, it can feel like you're kind of experiencing them even more so. So the house that has Aquarius in it might be suffering from some of those issues, and maybe you can start to move forward, start putting plans in place, perhaps.
Yeah. And with that trine with Mercury, but it is also in trine with that Uranus, so it could be shocking when it's doing that.
It's a square to Uranus and a trine to Mercury.
Was
Yeah,
it a square to Uranus? Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, we've had that square for a long time, or very close. We had a lot of that last year. I think we had some earlier this year, perhaps. I can't remember. Can't believe we're
We did.
nearly in October now. Like when we're recording this, which is 27th of September. Saturn's going to move forward. I think it gets into Pisces and then goes back. I think maybe in January it gets into Pisces. Let me just 1, 2, 3. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yes, there we go. Pisces. So March next year it will get into Pisces, and I think then it very quickly goes back. Oh no, it's going to make a liar out of me. Oh, there you go. It'll go back.
It'll go back.
But yeah, it'll be weird to have
There
Saturn in Pisces after all this time.
it will be. It will be.
Hmm.
Because Saturn is in a sign for over 2 years, a little over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And um it's been in Capricorn for 2 years. Now it's gonna be in Aquarius for 2 years. That's 4 years in its own domicile. So
Yeah.
when March happens and Saturn ends up in Pisces, it's not going to have the tools that it normally has at its disposal. It have to work with what Jupiter has to offer to get the job done. It'll
Yeah.
have to work with Jupiter.
It'll be interesting.
It will be.
And also on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into Scorpio as well as the Sun. Looks like Venus might move in just ahead of the Sun because Venus is moving faster than the Sun. So, yeah.
Mm, yeah.
because, you know, Venus does come up and conjoin with the sun, you know, the cazimi, and then she moves forward till she gets certain distance away, and then the sun will start catching up with her. She'll retrograde and the sun will eventually catch up. But yeah, so the sun and Venus in Scorpio. So Venus will be in detriment, and yeah, getting close to that south node. We don't usually kind of include the south nodes that much, or the south and north node that much. Sometimes when it got close to Uranus and Mars a couple of months back. But yeah, be interesting to see what happens when it does catch up to that. Must be about in a fortnight.
Yeah, I think it will happen around the 25th when that sun moves real close to that node, because that's going to be our solar eclipse.
Yeah.
It'll be a partial one. It won't be a full one. It'll be a partial one.
A partial eclipse, yes. What is
2
that?
degrees of Scorpio. Yeah, so it's definitely a wide. That's what makes it a partial, is when it's not directly on that node. It has
Yeah.
a bit of space.
Oh, 2
They're
degrees,
separated by 11
0.
degrees.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. There's only going to be 39 minutes between Venus with that solar eclipse. Wow.
Yeah. So still Hellenistically in the heart of the sun.
Definitely. Definitely. The heart of the
Yeah.
eclipse.
During the eclipse. So and then we're into eclipse season, and that is a whole bunch of energy that should be very, very interesting to watch. If you are interested in, the eclipses, if you're interested in the United States politics, this eclipse is very much, something to watch. Because we have the solar eclipse now, we're going to have a lunar eclipse directly on election day.
Oh, wow. So what's that?
Yeah,
The one in, must be November.
November,
Mm.
like November 8th or something.
What's that? About 16 Taurus, I think.
Which is going to be right on top of the Uranus. Just there are so many aspects on
Wow.
that
Yeah.
November eclipse. It's just mind-boggling on
Mm. That
yeah. So
is.
if you are interested in, United States history, the election days, how that's going to happen, yeah, this will be very interesting. And where it happens, trying to see where what'll happen in
That'll be in the
it'll happen
12th
in
and the
the
6th.
12th house for the against the
Solar.
Sibley chart. And Lynda and I did an episode on what the houses mean through the Sibley chart. So if
Yeah.
you aren't quite certain what the houses mean through the Sibley, or through if you aren't quite sure what the houses mean, it's a fun way of learning the United States history and learning what the houses do. So
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
might be one that you can go back and watch. But yeah, for the election day in November is going to be quite interesting and quite a setup.
Yeah, might be a bit of an upset with Uranus there on the lunar eclipse. I was going to say, we also have a solar eclipse video as well, and I'll link to that. And we also, I think for the solar eclipse ones, we looked at the assassinations of US presidents and the solar eclipses before that, just
Yeah.
prior to their assassinations. It was quite interesting. If you're kind of like, well, I don't really care about the Sibley chart, I just want to know about the houses. If you check out the ascendant video, which we will also link, that does go through a little bit of the houses too, but that's for like a personal natal chart. When we're talking about the Sibley chart or a chart for a country, we call that mundane astrology, and it's slightly different. So yeah. But yeah, there's lots of things to link to and lots of things to look forward to. That will be very interesting.
That is the aspects for the full moon in Aries coming up, as well as the stone, the red jasper. So, keep it in mind if you're ever at a crystal store. It'll give you that extra energy.
Yeah. And what are you doing, Donna, and where can people find you?
I'm doing natal readings as well as electional, and I do horary readings, and I work with crystals as well. So that's a year ahead for all the astrology. And where can people find you, Lynda?
Yeah. Oh, did you tell them where you were?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm at donnabastrology.com is my website. So you can get a hold of me if you need a reading. You can contact me through Facebook as well. And where
Yeah.
can people get a hold of you? And what are you doing, Lynda?
I'm at Scullywag Astrology, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, I'm doing natal readings and relationship readings and year ahead readings. So
That's
thank
wonderful.
you for watching. Yeah, we're kind of a little bit kind of a strange energy tonight, but we're not far from the new moon. We had the new moon a couple of days ago. I don't know. I'm going to blame it on that. Actually, we had a lot of Mercury Jupiter stuff going on too, I think. Or was that was a week ago? I
Yeah,
don't know.
and Mercury is still retrograde,
Hmm
so
hmm
that would definitely explain the
hmm
Mercury stuff we've been doing
hmm
a couple times.
Yes, but thank you for listening. Please like, share, comment, and we hope to see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.